Radio Rahim here in New York with my good friend, David Diamante. I'm so happy, man, to have you back. I haven't seen you since before COVID, before the boxing left the ring, and we've now come back. Boxing's a family, and everybody here that works together on the road together, we grow attached to each other. Even though, when the fights aren't in, we don't hang out outside of boxing week. I didn't know how much I would miss you with all this went away. So I'm happy to see you, and it's a beautiful thing to watch you work here for Triple G Canelo press conference.
Radio, I feel the same way. It's great to see you. Congrats on your new show, Till This Day. If you guys haven't checked it out, check it out. But it is great to see you, and we have spent some great times around the world together, and now, post-COVID, hopefully post-COVID, we're back. So, yeah, it's great to see you, too.
Well, first up, obviously the fight that we're here for, Triple G, Canelo, the third fight. I've spoken to both fighters today, and it won't surprise you that they still disagree on the first two fights. And how did you see the first two fights, and more importantly, how they inform what we may see in the third?
Well, I think we've seen, obviously, I said it at the beginning of this press conference, I think we've got two of the biggest faces of the sport. And now the third fight, the rematch, the trilogy, without a doubt, one of the biggest fights on the planet. They were both closely contested fights. Obviously, a lot of people feel Triple G won the first one. Most people feel Canelo won the second one. You know, I was impressed with Canelo's adjustments in fight two. I thought that was amazing. But I think that Canelo coming off the Bivol defeat, Triple G coming off the Murata win, it just makes this fight so juicy right now. It's really an exciting matchup. And as you can see, and we've seen in these face-offs, there's no love lost. These guys don't like each other.
You know, I've likened this fight to Pacquiao Marquez, in that Marquez felt, rightly or wrongly, that he had been denied a legacy, that he had been wronged in decisions. And so we all know how the fourth fight went, but it took 4 fights to get there. I wonder if inside Triple G, he has that same fire burning, like watching Canelo ascend and all these things that are happening in his career and legacy, and think what could have been for himself.
I also believe Canelo feels the same way, and he said it. He wants the knockout. He doesn't want a points victory on this. I mean, I think, look, either guy will take a victory, however it comes, but I think both of them want to end this decisively. And like you said with Pacquiao Marquez in the fourth fight, I mean, it took 4 fights to do it, but we got to see some fireworks. So, or a decisive victory. So I think that both guys are going to be looking for it, but at the same time, when you reach, they teach. So they both have to be careful. They're both really dangerous fighters. So it's going to be interesting to see how they go into this fight. Again, I love the adjustments Canelo made in the second fight. We'll see what Triple G brings in this third fight, and we'll see what Canelo brings in this third fight.
Speaking of the Canelo-Bivol fight, people have dropped Canelo in the rankings pound for pound. Like you say, coming off a loss, and maybe that makes him a weaker or more easy target. I don't think either one is true, in that he did dare to be great. I think it was a much too big fight for him in the weight. And now maybe it makes him a better fighter as opposed to a more easily targeted fighter.
I 100% agree. I don't think it makes him an easy target. I think it makes him more hungry, because he cannot lose 2 in a row. There's too much on the line here. And this is a legacy fight for both of these guys. I mean, these guys' names will be entwined in the lore of boxing history, So whatever happens in this fight's really important. It absolutely doesn't make him a weaker fighter, a target. I mean, he landed great shots on Bivol. Bivol was just sturdy, and he was able to withstand it, and he was able to land his, in a better way. And like you said, he dared to be great. So, he's the kingpin at 168, and that's the other wrinkle in this fight is instead of at 160, it's at 168. So it's going to be very interesting to see Canelo going back down to 168 and Triple G moving up to 168 and see how they meet at this weight.
Canelo's obviously chosen Triple G over the rematch with Bivol, but he's still promising the Bivol rematch afterwards. Do you think that's a wise choice?
Well, the fight I want to see now is Beterbiev and Bivol. I'd love to see that. I'd love to see a undisputed champion. And we just saw, I was at the Garden the other night to watch Beterbiev take out Joe Smith Jr. And it was in incredible fashion. We know how tough Joe Smith is. We know how hard he punches, and Beterbiev just it made quick work of him. So it'd be great to see a Bivol fight. I know he's going to fight Anthony Yard first, but I definitely would like to see Bivol and Beterbiev, but I would also love to see the rematch of Canelo and Bivol. And I think a fighter like Canelo, he's got really such a deep fire that burns in him. I mean, I don't think he needs money at this point, right? He's fighting for legacy, and he truly, really loves the sport. No boxing, no life. That's his motto. He's about it. He's about it. So to have a loss against a guy like that, he wants to come back and prove his mettle. So if he can come back, and again, we've seen him make great adjustments. He's a great champion, and that's what great champions do. So it'd be very interesting to see.
What adjustments would Canelo need to make, in your estimation, to best Bivol in a rematch?
Well, it's tough to say. First of all, Bivol is such a well-schooled fighter. He's a big fighter. He the one thing he doesn't know how to do is lose. He's undefeated, and he's really good at disarming his opponents, like whatever their best attribute is. But I would say for Canelo, I would say move more. Use your legs more and box more. I think that Canelo thought that landing those big shots that he typically, walks guys down and gets them out of there, it was going to work against Bivol, but it didn't. So this time, maybe go to the body a little bit more and try to box more. I don't know if he'll be able to stop Bivol, but look, Canelo's got power to stop anybody, but he didn't seem to be able to hurt Bivol. Bivol took some big shots during that fight. I was ringside. Bivol took some big shots. He just took them really well. He's got a great chin. So, I would think the plan, you have to come in with like an A, B, and a C plan at least. So I think it would be more to box him and try to get him on points possibly. And if a knockout comes, it comes. But this time, maybe stay on your bike a little bit and use your jab and combinations.
I'm in your school of thought, whereas I would love to see Bivol Beterbiev much more than a rematch with Canelo. In fact, after the Canelo fight, I think I did say, I don't really need to see this again. It's not that Canelo can't win. I mean, he's a champion with a heart of a lion, and you're right, no boxing, no life. He'll do his best to find a way, but I think Bivol and Beterbiev is the more, not only appropriate fight, but the more fascinating fight to me. And I don't know that Canelo needs to beat Bivol. It's not like, he got beaten by a lesser fighter, or there's something that is, I wouldn't take anything away from Canelo for having lost that fight. And in both guys' case, as you said, no boxing, no life. So they're gonna both aspire to be great. Maybe greatness lies in Bivol clearing out his own division. And it is not lost on me that not only the fighters in the ring, but we who cover the sport, you who is one of the voices of boxing in the center of the ring, the most hallowed ground, it's also no boxing, no life for us. I'm back from the pandemic and having to figure out what else I was going to do when boxing was out of the ring and I couldn't cover it. You're back from an incredibly life-threatening injury, an accident that is unimaginable to most of us, that you would even be able to survive. I've seen the photos. I know this happened to you, and you went through it. And if there's anything incredible about it, it's the fact that you're standing here by the grace of God and your own will to be here, not only a sound mind and body, but performing still at the highest level. How did you come through that and arrive here at this moment, still being the guy that we all know and love, and being able to perform in the way that we remember?
Well, it was obviously a tough situation that I had to get through. Unfortunately, I've been in some accidents before. I've had a lot of injuries before in different accidents. But it was one of those things, like, I love my life. And, once the surgeon did his job, it was my job to get back on my feet. And I just didn't want to lay in a hospital bed. It's not what I wanted. Once I was out of the hospital and I was in a rehab facility, that was almost worse. It was really terrible, and it's just not where I wanted to be. So I really wanted to get back to my life. There were a lot of things coming up on my schedule that I was very excited for. Like you said, no boxing, no life, not just for the fighters, but for us. And you're absolutely right about that. I mean, this is a very big part of both of our lives. And I just love what I do. And I love the travel. I love the people. I love the fights. I love the whole thing about it. So I really was motivated to get back. And the longer I laid in that bed, the more my body was going to atrophy. And I just worked really hard with the therapist there to get back on my feet and to do it. And, look, there's still pain, and there's probably going to be pain for the rest of my life. But I'm walking and able to travel and able to work, and I feel really blessed.
I know the motivation to come back is clear to you. I mean, you're a driven guy. You have ambition and passion. Well, in those moments when it's unsure, everything isn't mental. Like sometimes they tell you what you can't do and what's impossible. Where do you go in your mind in those moments to overcome what might seem a certain outcome if you were to listen to the people in your ear?
Yeah, it's funny you say that because there were voices telling me to take it easy. But me, it was like, man, I just wanted to get on my feet as soon as possible. And I just, I told my girl, I said, look, if the surgeon does his job, if he can save my legs, I'm going to get back from this as quick as possible. And that's what I did. And I tried. And I also had faith. I mean, when he told us that it's very possible that I'm not going to walk again, obviously my girl was really upset. She's crying. And I just said, look, let's just let him do his job. Let him do his job, and we'll just take it from there. It's going to be all right. Whatever we have to do, we'll do. And, thank God I had a great surgeon, Dr. Joseph Pune at NYU Langone, incredible spinal surgeon. He did a wonderful job. I've had a great rehab specialist. And it was like a mentality. I didn't want to stop. Like the moment I woke up and I could wiggle my toes and feet, we were like, all right, the legs are working. This is great. And it's time to get to it. And that was really it.
My show, what you mentioned, and I'm grateful for that, till this day, it focuses on the fight inside people outside of the ring. It is not boxers or even boxing people that I speak to. It's people who have achieved incredible things and people who have overcome internal struggles that we may or may not know about. Every time I ask somebody what that fight is, they give me a different answer than the last person did. And often I'm surprised at what that is. But it is what's inside them that allows them to overcome adversity. What's that thing inside you?
I don't know if there's like a tangible, you just put your finger on it, but I feel like I've had it for pretty much my whole life since I've been young. I just have a burning fire in me, and I'm hungry. I'm hungry for life. I'm hungry to learn. I'm hungry to be a better me. It's one of the reasons why I love to travel so much, because I love to learn about different cultures, the different food, how people pray, how people go to school, how they celebrate, how they deal with tragedy, how different people live their lives. I'm curious about those things like naturally. And with boxing, I'm really curious to see which man or woman has the bigger heart in them. And that's what I love when we get, to me, the squared circle is really the ring of truth. That's where, it's one of the darkest places in the world under the brightest lights. And I love that because I really believe it's the sport where we find out what truly beats beneath the man or woman's heart, beneath their chest. It comes through. And it's the best litmus test for that. So for me, I've just been waiting for the world to catch up. I always knew who I was, and now I'm here, and now I'm doing it, and it feels great. Working with Matchroom and DAZN, we don't stop. I mean, I just got off a plane from San Antonio, just got off a plane from Guadalajara, just off a plane from Wales. I'm headed straight out to London for Chisora Pulev. We don't stop, and the world tour continues, and I love it. So that fire in me, it's just there. I hope it always does burn, but for right now, I don't know any other way.
I've witnessed that in Saudi Arabia, which we hopefully will be back again together soon. But your cultural curiosity, you made me eat camel, which I would never have done had you not taken me out to that dinner. You are a guy who is definitely fascinated with people and culture. You take advantage of all the travel that you do while we're working. So I tail along with you to get some of my cultural education. And so when I talk about the family of boxing, those kind of memories for me are special. Were there people who came to your aid in support and encouragement in those dark hours? And can you talk to me about how that lifted you up?
Yeah, big time. First of all, like everybody out there in the boxing world, thank you so much. And radio, I'm talking not just Matchroom, not just DAZN, but DeBella, Top Rank, PBC, all, guys from Showtime, old guys from HBO, friends from around the world, the whole boxing world. I mean, people from champions from Mexico and from Europe and Asia, people from all over the world reached out to me. And I was really, really injured, and I was not able to be on social media. I was too messed up. I was really focusing on trying to get on my feet, but I saw the messages, and it lifted my spirits, and it really did, because it was one of those things where, again, I wasn't able to write back to everyone because it was just too much. But seeing that, it lifted my spirits, and I think the mentality is really everything. And I've got a strong mental anyway, but that just reinforced it. And I had no idea that many people cared or even knew who I was, to be honest. I mean, people just really came out of the woodwork, and it felt lovely. So thank you, honestly, from the bottom of my heart. Thank you for that.
Talk to me about that first moment when you were able to stand on a stage. I don't know what it was. The first job back, when you were able to perform and you knew, hey, man, I'm going to be back.
Well, so first, Dr. Gerard Verlata was my therapist, and we went down to Gleason's gym, and Bruce Silverglade, the owner of Gleason's, is a good friend of mine, and he's a wonderful guy, and he said, look, the gym's open to you. So we went down to Gleason's and trying to get through the ropes. That was the main thing, getting up the stairs and getting through those ropes. So we were able to do that. It was difficult, but we worked on it. And once I was able to get through the ropes, I was like, all right, I think I can do this, and then it was about the travel and stuff like that. And I had a lot of help with carrying my cases and stuff. But I came back, I shot a film. So I was back amazingly in 51 days. I had come back from this. I went down to Atlanta to shoot a film. I was on set for 6 days, and I'm not going to lie, it was very painful, but it was funny when I got there. There were different people from the boxing world there, and on the set, they saw my name on the call sheet, and they were telling the director, well, he's not going to be here. And he says, no, he's going to be here. And they're like, no, he's not going to be here. And they're like, he's going to be here. And when I showed up, the love, they were, oh my God. And, and I was obviously more ginger than I am now. I was walking really gingerly, I was very, very careful, but I was able to do that. And that was kind of, for me, the litmus test, can I come back? And after that, the next fight was the Chocolatito fight in San Diego. So I came back for that, and that was it. Then I was off and running, and I haven't stopped since.
For a person who has the great pleasure of talking to you on a regular basis, I know some of them may not realize how well-read you are, how educated you are, what a pensive and thoughtful person that you are. So I know that going through something like this, it's got to be life-changing because you're so pensive and in your head about things. What did you learn from this experience? How has this changed you as a man?
Well, it's an interesting question, and I think the answer might change over time. But right now, I just turned 50 not too long ago. November of last year, I was in Serbia, actually, and I hit my 50th birthday. And I've been running around the world for the last 26 years nonstop. I'm still doing it now, but I was doing it at a breakneck rate. And motorcycles, for me, allowed me to really get into the nooks and crannies of these different countries and places all around the world. And I'm always ripping and running, especially like in New York. Like, for example, here today, I'd be from Brooklyn, zip over here on my bike, park wherever, run in, then I'm on to the next. But now, I'm driving, I'm in a car. It's forced me to slow down. So I think this is the second stage of my life. I'm still moving, probably quite a bit more than a lot of people, right? But for me, it's forced me to slow down a bit and kind of smell the roses and just, I don't need to do everything.
Is there something you've learned about life, having slowed down and gotten a chance to maybe recognize something you were overlooking before, or appreciate something more that you took for granted?
No, I've been through a lot of stuff in my life, and this isn't the first time where I was in a very precarious situation. So I've had those kind of moments before. And to be honest with you, that's one of the reasons why I live my life the way I do, because life is it's not guaranteed, and tomorrow's not guaranteed. So for me, I wanted to do as much as I could while I'm here, while I'm still on this side of the earth, and breathing this air. Life is a gift. It's precious. And I love being alive, and I love doing what I do. So that's why I've been running around like that. But now I'm forced to slow down. I can't, literally, I can't run. I can't run now, but I have to go slower. And I just think that it's more, what's great is spending so much time in these different countries that I'm in. I've been to most of them before. And now, instead of like going to see like a tourist spot, it's more about spending time with the actual people, and in the local spots, in their homes. And that's been very rewarding.
Well, for me, having watched you go through this and you slowing down, it made me appreciate things that I might have taken for granted. Like, you'll always be here, and there'll always be another big fight for us to spend a week, me following you around eating weird shit. It made me appreciate just our friendship and the fact that you're present, and that can't ever be taken for granted. You're a great friend. You're a great treasure to the sport of boxing, and not having you, or the thought of maybe not ever having you there again, was a staggering and heartbreaking one. So the fact that we do, and that didn't happen, I think makes us all appreciate what you do and who you are for the sport and as a friend, in a way that maybe we couldn't have before. So I appreciate that. And I know that this isn't comfortable things to talk about. I'm grateful that you're willing to share these things with me. But mostly, I just wanted to thank you, first of all, for being a good friend, and let you know that we all, behind the camera, in front of the camera, and in this community, cherish you, and we are very happy to have you back. So
I'm humbled by your words. Thank you so much, Radio, and I really appreciate our friendship. Thanks a lot.
I'm going to give you a hug, but not a hard one. Appreciate it.
All right, you too, brother. Talk soon.
Radio Rahim with David Diamante.